Namaste, Iana. Welcome and thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to meet you and also to listen directly from yourself, the idea behind your page, your project.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to be here. And thank you for your patience as well. I know we've been trying to connect for a long time, and I appreciate your patience with this. Yeah, we are working right now on our fourth print issue. So we do one print issue of Yoga Love magazine a year. It's an all volunteer project. I work another job as well, and we create one print issue because we love print magazines and we love yoga and we love creating community with everyone. And because we're all so busy, we can only do one issue a year. So and we wish we could do more, but it's really just a matter of time that's, constraining us right now.
Yeah, but that's a beautiful idea because you basically spread positivity, you spread the benefits of yoga. It's a very interesting project. But how was it born? I mean, it's you are a yoga instructor, you are a yoga lover, or.
Yeah. So this project started, God, it's going to be 10 years now. And
Wow.
I did a yoga teacher training 2008. And I tried teaching. I said, I'm going to be a yoga teacher. And then I tried teaching and it wasn't a good fit for me. I realized that I loved yoga, the practice and studying it, but teaching was not the right avenue. People sometimes assume that that might be the logical next step. But for me, that wasn't the correct step. So my other job is art director. So I went back to freelancing and working as that as well. And then a friend of mine, she started print magazine in Minnesota. So she loved Yoga Journal, but Yoga Journal was the whole country, right? So she thought, let's be very specific to where we are in this area and just concentrate on this area and sharing, the teachers that are local in that area. And she's a friend of mine. And I said, well, we can do this. I was in New York. I said, this is perfect. So we started doing it in New York. So it was me, and I had never done magazines ever. I had only done broadcast television, film work. And so she helped me get started. And it was really just learning as you went along, building community, putting a message out on Facebook. We're trying this. We don't know if it's going to work. Would you like to join us? We can't pay you right now. Would you like to volunteer your time? And so many people responded, and so many people got involved. And we really learned as we went along. It was a slow process. And at first, we only did New York, the New York yoga scene. So that was what we were really celebrating, the local teachers, the local studios. And then the pandemic hit, as we all know, and everything shut down. And it was heartbreaking to see all these people we had worked with and collaborated for at that point, it had been maybe 5 years, closing their businesses, losing their community. And we said, okay, well, we can close maybe, or maybe we take the next step and try to be bigger, right? Maybe we do the whole country instead. It was either stop or just do it bigger, because the New York community was, it was really like all the communities. It was struggling and trying to find its legs again. And that's when we decided to rebrand and relaunch as a national magazine. And that's when we did Yoga Love magazine. So it's this version of the magazine where it's been national has been about 4 years now. So yeah, that's the short version of a very long 10-year journey.
Yeah, I can imagine. But you still practicing yoga or it's just something?
I do. So because it's evolved so much now since 2008, right? So I had in my 30s and 40s, my practice was much stronger and more vinyasa and more physical. And then as the pandemic hit as well and everything closed, I had to restructure what my own personal practice looked like. All of a sudden, I had a home practice and I didn't have the community that I was so used to and really leaned on. So it completely evolved how I was practicing. And it was me on the floor. I got a puppy. He was crawling all over me all the time. So it looked very different. I was still practicing, but it wasn't the vinyasa rigorous flow I had done for so many years. So that was one of the things that surprised me, right? That I had always thought, okay, well, it looks like this, and all of a sudden it was changing as I was changing, and I was so grateful that that happened.
Yeah, but this is kind of the process of yoga, you start
Yeah,
and then you evolve slowly. As you said, you maybe wanted to be a teacher, but now you know that this is not, your main goal, let's say. But the project
yeah.
is really, really nice. So what is your next step? There is a next project or something?
Yeah, so because we do one print issue a year and there's so much, we're always trying to get in one print issue. So we started adding digital issues as well. So we still do the print, and that's the next issue comes out in June. Now we're adding in digital issues as well, which will come out maybe like 2 or 3 times a year as well, so that we can do more stories and explore more areas and more topics. What we always like to try to do is pick a theme for every issue, so it helps guide the content that we're using and the community that we're reaching out to. The theme of the next print issue is celebrating age, so it's a lot of stories about how our bodies are changing, how our practice is changing, how do we navigate these new phases of our life. The first print issue, which actually just launched, the digital issue launched Friday, the first one that we did, and the theme of that one is healing. So that one explores how we heal, and it's so appropriate for this specific time that we're in right now, where it feels like we need extra healing right now.
Yeah.
We always need it, but it feels like we need an extra dose. So that's the evolution of where we are now, as well as more events too. So we hope to do more. We've always participated in events and attended events, but creating our own events is something we hope to do more of in this year.
That's amazing. I mean, you have really clear ideas, I can see. So just let's say this, just an advice for people out there. We are going to post this on social media. What is your advice? Because this is kind of a dream of you. I can feel that you wanted to do something and you worked hard for this and finally you did. So you have an advice for people that might be right now, they are kind of frustrated or stuck, in their idea. They don't know exactly how to go on.
Oh my goodness. I don't know what I would say because I feel like I have not had a clear path, right? So it's sort of evolved and adapted to what has always happened. So I wish I could say it was always this and this was always the goal, but it really, we had never planned to be a national magazine. We had always said, okay, we'll be local, we want to celebrate local, but when the world changed, we had to adapt with it as well. So I guess I would say stay focused but adapt, right? Which is everything that our practice is always teaching us, right? So I always had a vision of how I thought it might be, or every step along the way, but I had to keep changing what that would look like. So that would be my advice. And also, pay attention to your body and pay attention to your energy level, right? If something starts to feel draining and it's not feeling like it's really fulfilling you anymore, reevaluate if that's important and if that's still the primary goal. Because I'd always said that because this is a volunteer project and we don't do this for money, we don't do this for anything other than community and spreading, the message that we're trying, which is making yoga accessible, making the practice accessible, keep that in mind. And if that's the goal, make sure everything feeds that goal. So if it starts to feel tired and draining, then reevaluate where you're going. I hope that helps.
Yeah, it does because basically you are telling us, the message of yoga, just adapt, evolve,
Yeah.
check on yourself. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's I think the basic of yoga, as a yoga master trainer, my aim is also
Yeah.
to let people understand that we don't need to be perfect. We need to understand ourselves, be conscious,
Yeah.
and just go on. Never give up.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because, that this is one of the reasons we chose celebrating age as a theme, because yoga and as I get older, these lessons, maybe I'm more willing to listen. I don't know if it's because I'm older, but the message was always there. So I can hear it a little better as I get older, or maybe as it just is constantly repeated. If someone is constantly telling you something and in your heart it's right, but you're not ready to accept it, and I think that's one of the things that I've always loved about this community and about yoga is that it's always steering me in the right direction. I might not always be willing to go in that direction, but I always hear it, and it's always the voice in my head that this is what I need to pay attention to. And as you get older as well, you know, your body is your energy is a little more limited. So where you're putting it, you know, I'm more aware of where it's going. So if this thing isn't working anymore, I'm paying attention a little bit more now that I have less energy like I did in, you know, in my 30s when I could do everything and I had all the energy. And, you know, now it's like you have to be a little more selective and a little more, I guess, mindful about where you're putting your energy.
Yeah, and this is the things that we understand growing up, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if this will be something that we can understand maybe early, it will be much more easier, you know?
I didn't find yoga until I was in my 30s. And I'm so, you know, when I see people that find it much younger in their 20s or in their teens, or I'm sorry, you're so lucky. You might not be ready to hear all the messages and everything, but it's there. You have that tool in your horizon, which, you know, we have it in our friends and our family usually growing up, but to have this beautiful practice available to you when you're at a much younger age, I'm like, oh, you're very lucky.
Yeah, it is. So thank you very much. Was
Okay.
wonderful. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for being here with me, and
Thank
I'm
you.
quite sure that also my audience will appreciate. You know, it's always interesting to, for me, I always push on being together like a community, like you say.
Yeah.
It is important between the yoga communities, I think, in all the world, you know, not only in the United
Yeah.
States or Italy, Europe, or whatever. If we can
Yeah.
just be together, I think it's a great opportunity to spread this message and to heal a little bit more this world, I would say.
Yeah.